I found it funny. I was watching Failure to Report's video on the Mantis, and the thumbnail says, "Oh, you thought mines were stupid." Talking about the Mantis, the only thing that's going to be able to interdict anything, and the fact that there's no module. And also, in a similar vein of content, SaltEMike also did a video where he's trying not to rant for the fact that why are there no modules? Now this is kind of funny to me, because when I look at it, I don't think that modules are out of the question. I mean, their argument is to interdict anything, you have to have this ship, which currently, obviously, present day model, what we're seeing is, yeah, they're right. But it does not mean that down the road that this is the way that it will be, that this is the only way it will be. I think that's kind of closed-minded to think that, you know, after the game has been funded, that there won't be a module that will be able to interdict ships. So that's kind of the counter argument to FTR and SaltEMike, which is obviously right now they're in a fundraising cycle. They've been at it for a very long time. So it only makes sense to me that they're going to task interdiction to a ship, that they're only going to make it so that you have to buy a ship because that's their sales model. That's what they do. That's their business model. That's how they get the funding they need to make the game. But I don't think that that means that we'll never see a module that will be capable of interdiction, because right now all we have is a ship. It's a kind of a closed-minded argument. Assume that it's always going to be a ship and that there will never be a module. It just doesn't make any sense to me, looking at the way that the game is progressing, that they won't consider a module. It'd be stupid of Cloud Imperium Games to not have a module. So just because we don't have one now doesn't mean that we won't in the future. And I think that the outrage that you see is a little overblown. It kind of reminds me of this outrage culture where people aren't really thinking ahead. They're just like reacting purely to the moment. I've been guilty of it too. I mean, like, I'm not trying to throw FTR and SaltEMike under the bus by any stretch of the imagination. They do bring up good points, and I agree with them only if there was never to be a module for interdiction. Then I would be like, yes, absolutely, I would agree with FTR, I would agree with SaltEMike. But I cannot believe Cloud Imperium, who, by the way, has been fairly open, who has listened to their fan base. In fact, the reason why this is taking so long is they have listened to their fan base because the fan base wants no limitations on this game, and Chris has every step of the way said, I am listening, and that's what we're going to do. And on the same in the same vein of thinking, that the fan base has then turned around and said, damn you for the feature creep. We definitely have to open our minds up a little bit and think that, hey, you know, this is kind of silly, that we definitely are going to be able to have modules. If they don't, I'm sure that I'll be in the if they don't, I'll be in FTR and SaltEMike's camp yelling just as loud. I think it would be absolutely stupid if they didn't. But obviously right now they need the cash. So this is how they're offering it. This is the sales model. And I don't know. To me, it just doesn't seem like anything to get that upset about. As far as, you know, this being a gank ship, you know, or a griefing ship, you know, PvP was always planned into Star Citizen. PvP is an aspect of Star Citizen that will always be in the game. And ships that are like the Mantis and like the Nautilus will change PvP tactics up to the point where PvP players will really enjoy it. PvE players might not enjoy it as much, but I think when it comes to these types of game mechanics, that what you're going to find is that an advanced law system, an evolved law system, definitely not this placeholder law system that we have that is not really anything right now, but the future law system that we will have and the types of system securities that we're going to find along the way as this game will be developed will set aside the PvE from the PvP, so that people are not going to have to worry too much about interdiction in mines as long as they stay in relatively safe areas where most of the PvE happens anyway. So again, to those people that are worried about griefing and ganking, I say to you, don't worry so much. Maybe in infancy stages as we're grinding this out, trying to find the mistakes of the game. But I think what you'll end up finding is that the design of the game and the developers will keep in mind the fact that they want to have areas that PvE players will be protected, and that PvP players can then PvP. Now, of course, PvPers are going to try and find ways to exploit system security and kind of pick on PvEers. That's just the nature of the beast. But I think that as we get further iterations of this law system, you will see a clear divide between where PvE players primarily hang out, where PvP players primarily hang out, in outlaw systems. I'm pretty sure you're going to see a lot of PvPers in that area, and you will see those types of game styles separate based upon system security. And then you won't have to worry about this argument of oh my gosh, these ships are griefing ships. The PvPers in our eyes, as I am a PvPer, these aren't griefing ships. These are new interesting layers of emergent gameplay. That's a new thing I'm hearing too as well. This emergent gameplay keyword that I it's like fidelity. It's like optimization and performance, and now it's emergent gameplay. These buzzwords are ridiculous to me as well. But I will say this. I'm pretty sure that in the future you will see interdiction modules being able to be put on turrets, gun turrets of ships, of various types of ships. It only makes sense to me that they would eventually, that Cloud Imperium will eventually do that, and that this outrage right now that you're seeing from content creators like FTR and SaltEMike are really just kind of a little bit blown out of proportion. And like I said, I've been guilty of the same thing, doing the same thing. Trust me, I have my moments. But I just wanted to kind of put the counter argument in there for everyone. And I'd love to see what you have to say down below in the comments. Thanks everybody for listening. We are having a 300i giveaway. And thanks for our patrons for locking down that first goal. That's awesome. Giveaways every month now. And super appreciate everybody out there. And I will see you on the next vid. Well, look at you. You made it to the end. You must be #professional. That's right. You got to be a real fan of the games. Make sure you're tapping that bell so you get future notifications. Check out some more vids. Chill out. Also, check out our Patreon page. Lots of Patreon exclusive material just for our patrons. So help this community grow. And thanks for watching.